Shakur Stevenson, good to see you. Unified super featherweight champion of the world. How you been?
I've been good. Good to see you too. And I've been really good. Just sitting back waiting for my next fight.
Next fight has been announced now as well. It's September 23rd. Am I right?
Yeah, they still finalizing everything, but yeah,
Okay.
that's what it sounds like. September 23rd. I'm coming home and I'm back home.
So you're up against Robson Conceicao. Don't know if I'm saying his name right, but 33 years old, Brazilian, 17-1. Why was this fight interesting for you?
He's an Olympic gold medalist, and also his one loss, he lost to Valdez, and everybody made it seem like it was a controversial loss, and a lot of people felt like he beat Valdez. So I feel like he was one of the people who actually fought somebody. A lot of the other 130 pounders like say my name a lot, but they don't want to fight each other. They don't want to fight nobody else. They ended up fighting people that we don't know. So Robson actually been in there with Valdez, and he had a great fight with him, and I feel like he deserved a shot.
I guess what's kind of confusing to me is that if Bob Arum said he didn't want to make the fights against Cordina or Gutierrez, who are the two other belt holders at this weight, right? And he's kind of implied it's because he doesn't think they draw, they're not big enough names, not interesting enough fights for him to make. Do you think that Canceicao is more interesting than they are?
Nah, I think that he said he didn't want to make a fight with Gutierrez and Garwaya, the dude that Cordina just beat.
Right.
So I don't think it was more so Cordina. I think Cordina is definitely an interesting fight. Cordina just fought in front of his hometown fans, and I know it wasn't that many people in there. And I would rather him, go get another belt and set up a big fight where we could fight for all the titles and something like that. I feel like that's more.
Well, so essentially, you would rather Gutierrez and Cordina fight first, and then you fight the winner who has the two belts.
I honestly would rather fight Gutierrez, but they said that he had to fight with some guy. I don't know. He got to fight somebody first, and 9 times out of 10, the guy probably beat him. So we never know. I don't think Gutierrez is that good, to be honest. I think that he's gonna fight the guy that B-Hop lost to, I think. So he was already lined up to fight, so we couldn't really get him on there. And with Cordina, it's going to be a much bigger fight if we fight him in England. Where he's from, Wales, or however, overseas, it'll be a much bigger fight.
He's from Wales, yeah, so United Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah, so I would rather fight Gutierrez and then go fight Cordina. That's how I would like to do it.
Do you like the idea of you going over there?
Yeah, I want to go there, but like I said, I want to go over there when it's worth it. I want to go if it's, how Devin just went to Australia in front of, 40,000 some people. I would love to go for that. That would be like more so a
thing.
Did
you feel envious watching that?
Nah, not at all. I felt actually happy for Devin. I realized I knew Devin since a kid, so I was more so happy for Devin. Just seeing him go there, and I actually bet a lot of money on Devin, so I was even happier with money on somebody that I knew and somebody that I was close with coming up. So.
You mentioned that this fight is back home for you. It's in Newark. So you're going home as a unified champ, as a 2-division champ. You seem really conscious of wanting to be able to speak and to kind of cater to your community and give them a really positive example. Is that because that's something that you didn't have as a kid or something that you did have and you recognize the value of? Why is that so important to you?
I think it's something that I didn't have as a kid. I didn't have nobody really come back to Newark. And somebody made it big, or somebody that's, doing great in life. I never really got a chance to see them up in person, up close, and I just feel like I just wanted to be different when it comes down to like me. I feel like I'm a kid from Newark. Like I came from the trenches. I came from where all them other kids is at right now, and I just want to give them something to be motivated for, something to look for, instead of resorting into like drugs and bad stuff, trying to go to jail, doing the wrong stuff. I want to show them that they can get money in other ways instead of doing the stuff that illegal and criminalized that's going to get them locked up. So that's really my main goal when it comes back to that. And that's the main reason why I pushed for this fight in Newark as much as I did, just because I know even coming home, I'm going to try to do something where I can give away tickets, but I want to give away tickets to kids. Like I want to be able to give young kids tickets and let them come see the fight up close in person. I feel like that's gonna be major.
Have you spoken to Top Rank about that? Have you pitched that to
Not
them?
yet. We just got this into works, but that was actually my first time saying it just now. But just thinking about it, that's something that I want to do for sure. Like be able to
It's a
give
dope idea.
100 kids a bunch of tickets to my fights, and they come sit there and watch. I don't know what school or however it go, but just some kids. I want them to see that it's better options for them out there.
What does this mean now if the fight just got made? When will camp start officially for you?
I'm always training. Like I'm gonna go to the gym later on and spar with my little cousin. I'm always training, so I'll probably do like a 6-week camp, maybe like
Mm-hmm.
September. I want to say September. I don't really need the 13-week camps like everybody else because I'm always around the gym and always training. So
What about weight though? What weight are you at now, for example, if you jumped on a scale?
if I jumped on a scale right now, I can't really tell you how much I weigh. I wouldn't
Can't
tell
tell
you.
you because you don't want to, you don't want to tell me?
Yeah, I don't want to tell you. I don't like
Well,
telling
so
people
isn't
my
that a
weight.
big part of camp though? Isn't that a big part of why you would need a camp is to kind of to bring down that weight?
Nah, I don't have weight cut camps like everybody else. My weight kind
Okay.
of dropped easy. I got like a great team around me and everything goes smoothly. I don't need like a lot of these fighters they do like 13-week camp just for their weight. And I don't need that. I got a chef that cook clean food and all that kind of stuff. So she kind of makes sure my weight good. And I got a full team come fight week that we do everything the right way.
So you're obviously somebody who stays in the gym. From following you on Twitter, you seem like somebody who watches pretty much every fight going. You're always tweeting, right? You're always active. Do you think your boxing IQ, do you think of that as like a God-given gift, or do you think of it as something that you have developed because of your willingness to watch fights, to study, to do all of that?
I think I developed it from willingness to watch every fight, and I think it's more so my passion than my competitiveness. Like I
Mm,
could sit there and I watch boxing all day, every day, or if it's a big fight on, I'm watching it just because of the fact that I'm competitive. I want to outdo everybody else performances. And I also like to take little stuff that I see. Like I try to take notes from any and everybody. You might see fighters that's not that good, but they might do something really good in the ring that you may like, and you might take it and go in the gym the next day and try to use it to your advantage. So I think it's more so my passion and my
mm,
my love for the sport of boxing that makes me always watching boxing, always in tune into what's going on in the sport.
got you. Where would you do camp? What's the plan for that?
I'll probably either do it in Vegas or Houston.
So you might stay at home, you might go, because Houston's home now, right?
Yeah,
How did you find that doing, this would be your second camp as a dad, right? How did you find doing camp the first time around and being separated from the family for that period of time?
very hard. I feel like it's the hardest
Oh,
thing to
yeah.
do in the world. I feel like I don't know. I miss my daughter that whole camp. Like that's why I was saying like even with that's why I say 6 weeks. I feel like that'd be a shorter amount of time. And even with staying in Houston, if I stay in Houston, I could actually see my daughter a little bit more because that last camp was kind of horrible as far as missing your child and that kind of stuff. But it's a sacrifice at the end of the day. So I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win.
What do you feel about that when fighters feel like they need to go somewhere different and separate from family to be able to do camp? Do you think that you can be just as disciplined being at home and it's just a question of how much you're willing to discipline yourself? Or do you think you need to make that break?
I think you can be disciplined at home, but I think it's only a few fighters. Plus, at the end of the day, it probably don't even got nothing to do with your discipline. It's a lot going on when you home, when you're around your family, and
Mm,
they got needs, wants, or something just going down where it's like when you go away, you putting yourself first. It's like you don't got nothing else to worry about but boxing. And that's something that I've been doing my whole camp. Like I never really do camps at home. I just feel more comfortable doing it wherever I'm away from my family. Just because I came up in the amateurs, where it's like a lot of them tournaments I was fighting in the amateurs, I was away from my family all the
mm.
time. Like, so I feel like it kind of made me more hungrier.
But why did you hate it? Did you dislike being away back
Yeah,
then?
I hate being away from my family. I feel like it's the worst thing in the world, but it just feel like a
You had
sacrifice.
wait, hold up, because you had 8 brothers and sisters. You didn't enjoy, like, I just imagine what that would be like for me having some space from my brothers and sisters. Like, you didn't enjoy that little time away where it got to be just about you.
Yeah, you do. You do. but that lasts for I want to say a week or two. Like I was away in the amateurs. I was away for 3 months at a time. Like
Oh, dang, that's
I'll
long.
go to
Okay.
Colorado for 3 months. So that'll last for a week. Like you go a week or two without seeing your brothers and your mother and all that. It'll last. But then after like the first 2, 3 weeks, you're ready. Like you ready to see a family. You miss what you came up doing. Like, and that's something that I did a lot as an amateur. But it taught me sacrifice. Like it taught me how to sacrifice. And once you win, you enjoy it a lot more too.
It seems obviously you're super used to that role of being the kind of the big brother at home, right? But you've also been seen as like the little brother to a lot of big names in boxing, to Andre Ward, to Terence Crawford. I guess I'm just interested, what do you feel you've most taken from those relationships? Like, what's the best advice that either of them have given you that you still carry with you to this day?
With Andre Ward, I feel like it got a lot to do with like boxing. Him and Bud actually told me like the same thing. Like, don't get caught up into the crowd and stay within yourself. Always be a good boxer. Always be a boxer. That's who you are, and that's what works for you. Just don't get into basically trying to knock people out or banging with somebody just to please the
Right.
crowd or anything like that. Just because of the fact that a lot of these fighters they do that these days, and then you start to see them take losses. And I feel like the most important thing when it comes to boxing is everybody loves a winner. Everybody loves a winner. When you keep winning over and over and over and over, um, they gonna hate you. They gonna hate you, but at the end of the day, more fans gonna tune in just because you're winning. Like they want to see if somebody gonna be able to crack the code, or somebody gonna be able to beat you. And that I feel like that's great advice for me. Like I came up knowing like, okay, even with like the Valdez or Jamel, like in them fights, I'm telling myself like, stay controlled. Do not get into I
Hmm.
hit you, you hit me. If they land a good punch, we're gonna wait for a minute. Don't try to automatically get it back. Try to get it back on the mental side. Be smart about your get back. Don't go in there just try to. Valdez he caught me with a couple right hands early on, and the crowd was going crazy. But I told myself, don't do nothing stupid to try to get it back. Just stay smart, break them down.
What about from Terence?
Terrence, he told me the same thing, but with Terrence, I feel like I just learned more like watching Terrence. Like I love to sit there and just watch Bud because of the fact that Bud is like a competitive person. Like you get around Bud, you'll see like how competitive he is, like at every single thing. Like this dude, I just sit there and I just see his competitive nature, and it always makes me want to try to win at everything too. Like I tell myself, like even if I'm playing pool or Connect Four, or it don't matter. Like whatever you doing, just make sure you win. And just watching Bud, I sit there, I learn from Bud, and I could see like his competitive nature. It comes in the ring also too. Like his way he live outside the ring is the same way he live in the ring. And I just try to take notes from Bud.
That competitive nature has obviously served you really well, right? Especially, coming through even as a younger kid, you were doing so well in the amateurs. You won the junior and youth world titles, you won the youth Olympic Games gold. Now, when you look back at that time, how do you think you handled that success back then?
I think I handled it well. I think that like if I had the chance to do everything different, I wouldn't do nothing different. I feel like everything happened for a reason. I feel like even though like all them tournaments I won just to lead up to the Olympics and then take the L in the finals, that like all of that stuff happened for me to be who I am today. Like I know after that Olympic finals, I knew I didn't want to lose again. Like I hate losing. Like I know the feeling of losing. Like people saw me cry on TV. Like I was a little embarrassed about it, but at the end of the day, I knew like
Were
that's
you
my
thinking
passion.
that about that at the time when Chris Mannix was interviewing you? Were you thinking about the fact that people are going to see this, or were you just like in your feelings?
I was in my feelings that I lost. I hate losing.
Uh-huh.
Like I got a thing against losing. Like I'm so used to winning at everything. Like I won every tournament leading up to that. Before that, I haven't lost in like 2 to 3 years. Like so, when I lost on the biggest stage that I put everything into, I put my whole life into becoming an Olympic gold medalist. I know they said that nobody won an Olympic gold medal since Andre Ward. And that was like the biggest thing in the world to me to break that code. When I lost, I was just so mad. Like I don't know, I just was heartbroken. Like it felt like, people probably gonna look at me crazy for saying this, but I'm telling you, like this how I felt. know you when like a family member die and it's like a funeral. Like it just feels like that type of vibe. Like, like
Well,
that
hold on. When
vibe.
does that fade, though? Because let's say you're standing on the podium, you're getting the silver medal. It means you're the second best fighter in the entire world. Has that faded by that point, or you're still feeling like a failure, essentially, like it's a loss?
I felt like a failure. I feel like
Dang.
what I mainly was thinking was every time I get on them same podiums and I'm number one, I used to think I felt for the people that used to be like the number two under me or like the number three under me. I felt for them like at that moment because I'm like, yo, I can't do this every like I don't know how to go to these tournaments and sit here on the number two podium and everybody is honoring the Cuban flag. Like you see the Cuban flag and they playing the
Mhm.
Cuban national anthem. Like that don't feel good to me. It feel like, like you lost. Like you came here to win. Your main objective was to win a gold medal and you lost. So I don't know. That was one of the worst feelings. But like looking back on it now, I'm glad it happened. Like I know I don't never want to feel that again. I don't never want to feel like I lost. I trained too hard. I'm coming in there to win every time.
How quickly did that switch into that kind of competitive, this is never going to happen to me again? Because sometimes it takes you a minute to digest things like a failure or a loss, right? When you came back from the Olympics, where were you at? Did you know, okay, I'm getting straight back in the gym, that I'm going to go harder? Or what were you feeling at that time?
I wasn't even thinking about nothing. I didn't even want to box for real, for real. I was in my head like I was like really down. Like I ain't gonna lie to you. I had a bad point in my life where it's like I was down. Like people looking at you like you're Olympic gold medalist. Everybody, I mean silver medalist. Everybody's celebrating you. You got to go do parades. You got to go do ceremonies, and people celebrating you. And they giving you your credit. But I was like in my brain, I was mentally down. Like I was mentally down. I wasn't up. I was in my brain where I felt like I put my whole life into something and I failed. And I didn't even really want to box no more. Like it took me months, like before I went back to the boxing gym and trained. Like I didn't train for I want to say 4 or 5 months. Like I think the Olympics was in what September. I ain't gonna
Summer.
say yeah, it was in September. I didn't get back to the gym. I want to say to December, January.
So what turned you around? What brought you back?
I went to Andre Ward camp. I went to his camp and he fought Kovalov. I went to his camp and I just seen like the before and after the fight, like his work ethic. I got to see his sparring. I
Mm.
got to see the fight day. Like I got to see the crowd. Then I found out how much money he was getting for the fight, and I honestly wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking too much about it before then, but then I see like what I could do if I put my mind to it, and I see that he did that, so I was in my brain like I want to get into that too. Like I wasn't really thinking about the pros. If anybody knew me, they knew. All I knew was Olympic gold medalist. When I seen that, I said, "Yeah, it's time. It's time for me to go visit what he doing." And I wanted to make money, and I just got my motivation back.
What about Kate Karoma from, because you were with him from when you were what, maybe like 16, or was it even younger than that?
Nah, I was older. I want to say 17.
Okay.
17.
So
I was a
what
little.
what was his role during that time?
I think more so like we bonded through like our communication. I feel like I came to like live with him at that time. I lived with him and he got me kind of we trained towards the Olympics. Like we trained to become an Olympian and become an Olympic gold medalist, and that was more so like how we connected. But we got a lot closer through all that, and he became part of my team. But I will say, like, I got to make this be known. My grandfather is the number one. Like, he's the person who
Okay.
taught me every single thing I know. He taught me like all my competitive nature, how I am as a person, and in the boxing ring is because of my grandfather. Like, I used to get screamed at by this man just because I used to ain't like to train. I used to go to the gym and I only want to spar. And he used to make me train and he taught me everything I know. So before I, give like K his credit, because I'm gonna give K his credit too. I always gotta say like my grandfather is the man. that put me in this position. So
I respect that. So when you do camp, like for this fight that you have coming up, will they both be present, or how does that work?
oh yeah, they both in my corner all the time. If
So
you see my fight,
they'll be there throughout camp, both of them.
yeah, throughout
Gotcha.
my whole boxing career, my grandfather and K been in my corner. And, a lot of things happen where people want to get them outside. I mean, get them out of your corner, or get one person out of your corner, or have them beefing with each other. But I don't know. I just feel a lot better with them being in my corner. I feel like
Mhm.
that's my version of how I feel comfortable and good. So
Talking about your last fight, which you mentioned against Oscar Valdez, he was undefeated up until that point, right? It feels like it was a really kind of signature fight for you. It was a dominant decision win that you got over a fighter that until that point hadn't been beaten by anybody else, and was a real big name in the division as well. You said after the fight, this victory is everything. It means everything. Why did it mean so much to you, that one specifically?
because I knew that I was fighting against a fighter who, a lot of people felt like I was gonna win. That's if you like really a boxing fan. But I felt like I was fighting against a fighter where I know he wasn't coming in there to lose. Like he knew he was real competitive. Like his brain was coming in there to beat me that night. He was gonna try to do whatever it takes to beat me. And he was undefeated. Nobody never beat Oscar Valdez. And you gotta be real, like be realistic. Oscar Valdez and all of the fights that he always digging deep to find a way to win. So it just was gonna feel good. Like it felt a lot better me being the first person to beat an actual real undefeated fighter who's a two division champ, defended his title multiple times. And honestly, like thinking back on it, I feel like I don't get the credit I deserve for that one.
I was going to ask you that because I know that before the fight you had said, I feel like this is the fight that's going to elevate me to that kind of superstar status. Do you feel like the recognition hasn't been what it should have been?
Yeah, I feel like it's not. I feel like a lot of people look at it like I'm that good. Like they look at every fight that I have and they basically try to say like I'm just better than everybody. Basically, like if you look at the odds before the fight, it just be like super crazy. Like they don't. I feel like I don't get my credit for like a lot of stuff. I feel like just going to beat Valdez every round. Like nobody never dominated Valdez like that. I feel like Valdez was he had a great team behind him, undefeated. Just knocked out Burchell, put him to sleep. I feel like I don't get the credit I deserve. That's how I feel. But I just got to keep working and keep beating people, and it's gonna come.
But you keep telling everybody you're the best fighter in the world. They're going to start believing you, and then they expect you to win every single fight easy.
Yeah, and that's the problem. But it's some fighters out there now that whenever I get to 135, they're gonna probably make the odds closer and it'll be more so competitive as far as the public knowledge.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely. That's going to be really interesting to see you step up to that. So you won the Ring Magazine belt as well in that fight, right, against Valdez. So not just the WBO, which you defended, you won his WBC belt, but you also got the Ring Magazine belt. I'm interested what kind of value you assign to that belt. How much does that belt mean to you?
It means everything. I feel like with that belt, it lets you know like you're number one at your division. You're the best fighter in your division, and I love the fact that they did that because they put a stamp on me at 130, letting it be known that Shakur Stevenson is the man at 130 pounds. I don't know. I just love it. I love that belt. I feel like that's the best belt in boxing. I feel like that's one of the number one belts that have been going on in boxing over the last few years. I feel like with all these other belts, they putting all like they watering the belts down. Like it's like these belts not the same no more. With the Ring Magazine, you ain't gonna have like a super Ring Magazine champion or Intercontinental or however it go. That they try to order the belts down. I feel like once you get that Ring Magazine belt, you're number one.
So of everything you've got behind you there displayed, what's the piece that means most to you that you've got up there?
That I got up there,
Yeah, behind you.
the Ring Magazine.
Yeah.
Yes.
You pay a fee for that?
Uh, Actually, I think that's the only belt that you don't even pay.
That you don't pay a fee for?
That is crazy. That's crazy. The best belt you don't pay no money for. That's crazy.
Before that fight, you let it be known that you're half Puerto Rican, which maybe you'd said previously, but a lot of people hadn't really heard about that, right? And everybody knew it was the fight against Valdez, who's a Mexican, so there's that kind of like Puerto Rican Mexican rivalry. Kind of, it felt like half the Puerto Rican fans embraced that, and then there was another half that called you fake Puerto Rican and said you were just using it to sell the fight. How did you feel about the reaction that you got to all of that?
I honestly don't care, just because of the fact that I'm different. Like I'm really like a real person, so I let it be known. Like I let it be known before the fight. Like my father wasn't in my life my whole life. I didn't really get to be around my father till I was like 18, which is he's the Puerto Rican person in my family. So
Right.
I let that be known. Like I let the world know I don't know no Spanish. And I told them also before that, I told them, I said, y'all can embrace me if y'all want, but if y'all choose not to, I respect it. I don't got nothing to do. I don't want to use y'all for no, publicity. I'm cool off that. I don't need that. I feel like I'm going to be real about my situation though. Like I'm half Puerto Rican and that's just what it is. Like I can't change who I am at the end of the day, but I really don't care how they feel about it. Even though I know like a bunch of them came and bought tickets to my fight. Like a lot of them came and bought tickets to my fight. So at the end of the day, I'm cool. I ain't tripping.
Do you want to connect with that side of you?
Yeah, I be actually people don't know I got a brother and a sister that's Puerto Rican, and they came
Mm-hmm.
to my fight. It's all good. Like I'm cool with the fact that I get to, and I just met my brother and sister. Like I get to reconnect with them, and have normal conversations. They went and
That's
bought my
dope.
daughter some nice Air Forces, and I don't know. It's all love. Like it's all love. Like that's cool. That feel better for me than some Puerto Ricans saying, "Oh, you're fake," or da da. I don't really don't care about that. I care about the fact that I get to talk to my brother and my sister, and we planning trips to Puerto Rico or however
That's
it go.
dope.
Like that, that feels way better than what they even got to say. I really don't care or mind whatever they got to say.
Has your daughter got a good sneaker collection?
Yeah, she definitely do. She got a lot of clothes. She got a lot of family that care about her, so it
Amen.
feels really, really good.
I guess I'm also interested because obviously you do study fights, like you say. You'll take notes and you'll watch things, what other fighters are doing, and draw what you can from that. What about your own fights? Do you watch your own fights back?
Yeah, I just watched my fight with Valdez yesterday. I
Mm.
gotta watch my fights back to see what I'm doing wrong.
So what did you learn from that?
I can't tell because if I say it, people are gonna try to do exactly what I'm
Okay,
working on in the gym. But I
but there
definitely
was
picked
something
up.
there that you saw that you want to do differently.
Yes, 100%. Everybody ain't nobody perfect, but
Hmm.
I'm one of them fighters that people try to say they don't watch tape, but they don't do this. I'm one of them fighters. I'll go watch tape. I got to see what I did wrong, and the next time out or the next training camp or whatever, we making sure I don't do that same thing again.
How do you feel about hearing the commentators talk about you? Is that stuff that do you take that personally? Do you take it to heart, or do you just see it for what it is? It's part of the broadcast and it's cool. Whatever it gets said, gets said.
I feel like they on and off. I feel like some moments it'd be like Tim Bradley for to say, and I like Tim Bradley too. I can't say nothing, because he just saying his opinion at the end of the day. Everybody, we all not perfect at the end of the day, so he gonna say his opinion, but I just feel like he be on and off sometimes. Like one moment, oh you're boring or this, and next moment Shakur Stevenson is the best boxer in all the boxing. So it's like you just gotta take it as what it is. Like I can't sit there and stress what they got to say, even though I know that they're boxers and they boxed before. It's just the fact that people gonna have their opinions. And they gonna think whatever they think at certain moments. Like if I go my next fight and struggle with Robson, I might be beatable. I might be a fighter that's beatable. But if I go in there and dominate, I'm the best fighter in boxing. So you just take it for what it is at the end of the day and just keep doing you.
Do you draw anything from anything that they say, or is everything that you take when you're watching one of your own fights that's your own thought, and what they're thinking doesn't really influence you one way or the other?
Sometimes it do. Sometimes, like my fight with Nakatia, Tim was sitting there, saying I'm boring. It kind of influenced me. It wanted me to perform a lot more. But I didn't respect a lot of the things that he was saying because of the fact that every fighter, every athlete in the world, I don't care who you are, you're gonna have an off night. You're gonna have a night where you're just not feeling like yourself. And that was an off night for me, even though I dominated the fight. So I didn't respect everything that he was saying just because of the fact that every other fight you say nothing but good things about me. Oh, he told me, I mean, he said in one fight that I could beat him, that I could beat him. Like, he wouldn't want to fight me as a professional. So it's like, it motivated me. Don't get me wrong, but I just can't take it serious.
Did you ever think about reaching out to Tim Bradley?
I did. I actually, after that fight, when I was getting ready for the Jamel fight, I seen him come in the lobby. And I kind of like, he came up to dap me up. And I kind of like brushed him off. And me and him kind of had like a talking, like a bunch of words. But I feel like we talked it out. I feel like, I just wanted to say my piece about it because of the fact that, he was saying he was falling asleep and all of this stuff that I just felt like he really shouldn't have said. Like, that's not how you're supposed to do somebody on an off night. Like, I feel like on an off night, you're not supposed to do that to an amazing athlete who shows out every other time.
You often, in your post-fight interviews, you'll talk about your belief in the fact that you see yourself as the best fighter in the world, right? That's something that you've said. Where does that self-belief come from?
I think it comes from being in the gym, and like I feel like I sparred with a lot of these fighters before. I done been in the ring with the best of them, like so. I feel like it comes from me in the gym. Like I know how good I am.
So, okay, pound for pound. If you say you're the best fighter in the world, you think pound for pound you're better than Terence Crawford?
I think pound for pound I'm better than any fighter. I think I'm the best fighter in boxing. So you
What
could
would
like
Terence
name.
say to you if you said that?
I think he'll back me. I think he'll back what I'm saying, that I should believe in myself the way that I believe in myself. So I don't think he'll catch a problem with it. At the end of the day, he probably feel like, well, not probably, he feels that he's the best fighter in boxing. So at the end of the day, you got to respect another fighter for their belief because that's how we go in there and perform the way that we perform. I go in there performing the way I perform because I know in my brain that I'm better than everybody.
One of the things that you said that you want to do is clear out the division at 130. And I think everybody understands that, even though the two other belt holders are lesser known, right, than some of the guys at 135 and the big fights that could be made there. My question is, if you beat Cordina and you beat Gutierrez and you take those belts, what do you think that proves, beating them to? Do you think it proves something?
I mean, it might not prove nothing to other people just because of the fact that they're not well known. But I think that's mainly the reason why I say with the Cordina fight, I just want to wait just a little bit longer. I don't want to prolong it, but I want to wait just a little bit longer because of the fact that I think he's going to be able to prove that he's a worthy opponent and he's a solid opponent where I can get my credit for beating him, not just going to beat him right now and not getting no credit for the world feeling like I just, I should have went to 135 instead of staying at 130 and all of this stuff. So at the end of the day, I feel like everything come with time. Everything's gonna come perfect with time, and people can think what they want, but all that matters is when it comes time, you take advantage of your time.
Them both being tied to, Cordina is tied to Matchroom, right? And Gutierrez is tied to Golden Boy. So they're both tied to DAZN, effectively. Do you think that's something that could be problematic in making those fights happen?
No, not at all. I feel like even with the big fights, I feel like it comes down to the athletes too. I feel like the athletes got to say that they want to fight, and they have to do whatever it takes to make the fight happen. And once they don't do that, that comes down to them at the end of the day. I feel like we can go sit with Eddie Hearn or Golden Boy and make a fight happen. I feel like it's been done before. So it's all on us to want to go do it. And I feel like I'm one of them dudes who I don't mind going to fight on DAZN if I got to. I don't mind going over to somebody else's country or wherever they at to fight. That don't matter to me. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make the biggest and best fights happen.
Being on ESPN has its privileges, right? It exposes you to a massive audience. They've done a great job of getting you that visibility and making making sure that you're seen by millions. What about being a pay-per-view fighter, though? It's something that a lot of fighters really care about, right? It's seen as like a status thing. Is it something that you aspire to? Do you want to be a pay-per-view fighter, or would you rather be seen by millions and keep building your brand the way you are doing?
I think in the next year or two, I'm gonna be a pay-per-view attraction, and I think as the years keep going, I'm gonna become a pay-per-view superstar. So I definitely want to be a pay-per-view fighter. I feel like every great fighter should want to be a pay-per-view where people got to pay to see you, and it's just a lot bigger events. I feel like with pay-per-view events, it's a way bigger audience, a way bigger event, and I think that that's something that I definitely want uh, to come sooner rather than later.
How do you feel about all the pay-per-views in boxing, though? Do you feel like that's damaging to boxing? That because it feels like even now fights that are pay-per-view, just a couple of years ago, it doesn't feel like they would necessarily have been pay-per-view, but now so many fights are pay-per-view. Is it damaging, do you think?
I mean, it kind of is at the end of the day, just because of the fact that me and Valdez is like a fight that should have been a pay-per-view fight. Like that's a big, big fight to me, if I'm being real. But you'll see like regular fights where it's like it'll be one big star as the pay-per-view superstar. Then you'll have somebody that nobody really even knows, and they're turning into a big pay-per-view fight. So I think it definitely like water it down and downplays the pay-per-view status. But at the end of the day, I watch somebody like Floyd career, and I watch him go and become a pay-per-view superstar, and it's like the whole world paying to see you fight, and all that money going into his pocket. And I don't know, I just want to take a page out of his book too.
I think a big part of that would be you moving up to 135, probably because the division is stacked. There's a bunch of names that everybody wants to see you in against. Is there a time frame for you on that? When you think it's appropriate for you to move up?
Like I said, I feel like with that, the timing of everything, I feel like long as it's not too late, I'm cool. But I feel like I ain't rushing to go to 135 just because of the world like this, and they want to do this. And at the end of the day, you don't even know if any of them fighters are really willing to fight somebody like me. Like I'm a difficult style to fight anyway. So I'm gonna take my time. Let me conquer my division even more than I already did.
Mm-hmm.
Then when it's time, we're gonna get there. It may come soon though,
Okay. Why'd you say that?
cause I don't know. We'll see. You gotta see what's going on. Can't really tell you details, but it may come soon.
Of those guys at 135, who do you think gives you the toughest fight?
I think Devin and Tank is probably the toughest fights at 135, just because of the fact that neither of them lost. When you see Devin fight, he's real dominant, just like me. We both dominate fighters, so I feel like that's gonna be a great fight. And when Tank, he got good skills, but his power is something that you got to watch out for. And you can't slip up at any moment with Tank. You can't make no mistake because he got power from 1 to 12 at the end of the day. So you gotta watch his power shots the whole time while you fighting.
So here's a question. If you were to go up to 135, would you be willing to go up and go straight in with one of those guys? Or does that feel like something that needs to be a slower build for you? Let me get a couple of fights in at the weight, get established. I mean, you don't want to tell me how much weight you have to lose. So obviously you're bigger in between fights, right? Do you feel comfortable going straight in at 135?
Oh yeah, I feel comfortable going
Mm.
straight in. I feel like my skills gonna carry me through these weights. I feel
Through
like
how many weights? What do you think the limit is for you?
I think I'll probably get to 147, 154 ish. But I don't think that
154.
I'm gonna
Dang.
be that big. Like I think I'm gonna be small, but I think I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna just be so skillfully good where I can get in the ring with these bigger guys than me and dominate. I feel like I'm a dominant person, man. I done been in the ring with people that's like 154, 160. I done beat up people that's 160 in the gym. Don't get me wrong. Like I done been in the ring with these big guys before. So at the end of the day, I know for a fact. I feel like when I fight, it's the same thing like me in the gym. I feel like when I'm fighting, it's me regular. Same stuff that I'm gonna do in a fight. I mean, in sparring, it's gonna be the same thing I do in the fight. So I think my skill gonna carry me through these divisions. I think I'm ready to fight 140 right now. If
Wow.
if it really came down to it,
Would your team let you?
I mean, a lot. I think the people who like part of my team that be in the gym with me every day, one of mine. because they know like what I'm doing in the gym. I think people that's not in the gym every day probably be so, you know, probably 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But at the end of the day, like I said, I feel like right now I can go against the best 140 pounder at 140 right now, if you ask me.
You're somebody who you seem to me to be somebody who like plans things out, right? You have a clear vision of where you want to get to. What do you want to be remembered for in boxing? Like, what is it that you want to accomplish, and that will make you feel like I did it? I did what I set out to achieve.
I'm gonna say this because of the fact that Floyd says this every time, and it don't irk me, but it motivates me. Like it makes me want to like become one of the best boxers ever. So that's really like my goal. I want to become one of the best boxers ever, but I also want to like break all Floyd records. Like he always say, like nobody will never break my record. There'll never be another fighter who can break my record, who can outdo me. Or, like he always says this in a lot of his interviews. So every time I hear it, and I got love for Floyd too, because I talk to Floyd a lot. From being real with you, but every time I hear him say it, it kind of like I get up and go running. Or I get up and try to go to the gym just because of the fact that he really feel like you said he really believe that nobody's gonna make that much money in boxing again. He really believe that there will never be another fighter that's gonna be big as a superstar as he is, and I want to be that guy.
Are you talking about just in terms of like accolades, or are you talking about like his record, as in like 50-0 and getting to that kind of numbers of fights and still being undefeated?
Both. I feel like both because of the fact that I want to break his record as an undefeated fighter, and I also want to break his records as far as the pay-per-view numbers and how much money he was
Mm,
making. Like I want to be that person because every time I hear somebody talk, like they always say, like there probably will never be another person that can make as much money as Floyd made in the sport of boxing. Or they always say this, and I feel like I got a lot of belief in myself where I feel like everything gonna come in due time where I can break his records or I can become a big superstar. Like
yeah, that's a lot more fights though. Like
it
if you
is.
think about that in terms of years, if you're fighting on like a two fights a year kind of tempo, that's a lot of years.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I feel like I can do it. Like I love the sport. I feel like I'm not gonna stop loving the sport until I'm like older. Like I'm not one of the dudes who feel like I should be retiring at 34, 35. Like I don't think maybe once I get there, my feelings may change about it. But as
Right.
of right now, thinking like I'm gonna be able to go to like 40 something, like just because I love the sport.
Well, and what about like when you hear somebody like Andre Ward talking about how he always says he wanted to get out of the game when he still had a fight left in him, right? Make sure you get out of the game when you're completely intact, when everything is good with you still. Is that something that you think about, or you just think I love this sport, I live this sport, this is me?
I mean, as long as it keep going the way it's going, I'm Gucci. I'm ready to go. Long as it keep going the way it's going, but I'm not gonna say because I don't believe in like I'm gonna lose. But like if my career start going in that direction, I'm not with losing. Losing ain't something that I'm into. So I would not even keep going if that was in the play. But long as I'm keep winning and keep being successful in the ring, and I love the sport of boxing, I'm gonna keep going until I can't do it no more. Till my legs start feeling old and worn out, and it's just not time.
All right, listen, so I got some random questions for you that we always finish with, right? Tell me who are the fighters you most enjoy watching right now, like current fighters. Who do you enjoy watching?
I like watching Boots.
Mm,
I like watching what's Lil Bam just fought.
yeah.
Oh my God, that kid is special. You know what's crazy? I've been knew he was special. I sparred him when he was like a little kid, and he was like a lot smaller than me, but he kind of caught me like a body shot, I remember. And I started like trying to like turn it up on him, but I always knew that kid was like a special kid. I swear, you could ask him. Like I've been telling him, but I like watching Bam. I like watching Keyshawn Davis.
Hmm.
I feel like the new crop of people. Like I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on like the new crop of our generation. I feel like our generation got a bunch of young new talent on the rise that's gonna take over the sport of boxing. It's gonna make boxing real fun.
What about you personally? What's the hardest you've ever been hit?
Hardest I ever been hit. See, I don't like saying this just because of the fact that he be feeling himself sometimes, so he probably thinking like,
Who?
it's Gary Russell. I feel like when I was a kid, me and him sparred before,
Oh,
and,
dang.
and he caught me with like a hook. He kind of like sat down on the hook and he caught me with it, but it ain't do nothing to me. Don't get me wrong. I got a good chin. It ain't hurt me. Make sure I'm letting that be known. I never been hurt before in a sparring. Never been dropped. None of that. So at the end of the day, but I will say like he kind of sat down on the hook before, and I felt it. And I'm like, oh snap! Like, but we ended up going 8 rounds. It was great work. I ain't gonna speak on sparring. You keep the sparring in the gym. I was sharp. I was real sharp though. But yeah, he caught me with like one of the hardest punches that I got caught with before. But he be feeling himself. He know that already. He be feeling himself. He go speak about it in interviews and because what it is what it is. I ain't tripping.
So I know you're a historian, right, of the sport. If you could trade abilities with any fighter, it could be current, but it could also be historic. Who would you trade with?
Trade current. I'm gonna take Gervonta in his power. I feel like he be punching, he be knocking people out bad, like the way he be hitting people. I don't know, that don't be seeming fair. So I would definitely take Boost power.
And in history, is there a fighter you trade abilities with?
History, I'd probably say Sugar Ray Leonard offense. I feel like he had a great offense where he puts a lot of combinations together. That ability, I would like to trade that. But I think that's something that I could work on too. But I just feel like he it's like he was a master of it.
See, you surprised me though, because I thought you had a Pernell Whitaker tattoo. So I thought you would go Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you gotta be realistic with yourself. I feel like Pernell Whitaker defense was great, but I think my defense is super great already too. So
so you don't need it. You're fine.
Yeah, so it's like when I'm switching home.
Injuries before a fight. Have you ever had any that nobody knew about?
Injuries, yeah, I had hand injuries. I'm one of the fighters who damn near hurt my hands all the time. So they tell you don't say that, but truth be told, I'm like how Floyd had like brutal hands. I got the same kind of hands. I hurt my hands a lot. So
most weight you've had to lose for a fight?
I can't tell y'all. I feel like if I tell everybody, they're gonna think I'm crazy.
People gonna judge you? So it's bad?
Can't tell nobody my weight. I don't like.
All right, how about this? It's more than 20 pounds?
Nah.
Okay. But more than 10?
Yeah.
More than 15?
Can't answer no more.
Okay, fine. Your all-time favorite ring entrance of yours, which is the favorite one that you've put together?
I done had some good ones. I don't know. I think my last fight I kind of liked it just because of the fact that the crowd was so turned up. Like I know when I got to like my family section, I seen like all my little brothers and sisters, and they was like turned up dancing, and I don't know. I enjoyed that. Like I enjoyed seeing. As soon as I seen them, I kind of got hyped, and I couldn't wait to fight.
I appreciate you for the time. Thank you so much. It was good to meet you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too, and can't wait to meet you in person.
Amen.